My name is Tom. I'm 16 and I'm extremely passionate about improving cycling and urban planning in Melbourne and more broadly. It's really heartening to see that people actually value the voices of young people. I think it's really pivotal in this discussion, and I'm really glad that I was invited here to share my perspective. Now, I'm no transport planner. I don't have a degree yet, but being a cyclist for 14 years has highlighted to me the difficulty of being someone who loves to cycle in a car-orientated society. Approaching the issues of car dependency from a youth-orientated perspective is vitally important. They are more vulnerable on the road, impressionable in terms of future transportation choices, and their mobility choices are often dictated to them by their parents. The decisions that we make today will influence their quality of life for generations to come. More and more, I'm seeing my friends become dependent on what I would call the parental taxi service for transportation, because so often our streets and roads are completely inadequate to facilitate for safe cycling. And as a result, the pervading sense of fear and danger that surrounds letting children choose to cycle persists. I've been told many times that I must be insane for wanting to ride to one of my basketball matches or wanting to ride home from one of my friends' houses once it's dark. The root cause of this issue stems from our underinvestment into safe cycling infrastructure and our leaders' continual ignorance, intentional or otherwise, into addressing the key barriers of cycling accessibility facing young people, namely and primarily entrenched car dependency. It shouldn't be that I'm the only member of my entire basketball club who cycles to our games, and yet I am, and we must address this issue. I think it's about fundamentally flipping the narrative and perspective we take to discussing barriers to mobility. Most commonly, I hear that cycling is unsafe, rather than critiquing the root cause of this issue. We've become fixated on the symptoms to the point where we have neglected the disease, which is our car dependency. Furthermore, there is the concept of norms. They are difficult to change, requiring time and effort. This epitomizes our fight against car dependency. The further we continue to kick the can down the road, the more entrenched and solidified they become. So we must act today before it is too late. We are telling children how to exist and how to act around our roads and with transportation. I think a great example in Australia is our stop, look, listen, think phrase, which is so often parroted in our primary schools, and it's become entrenched in the minds of so many young people. But the issue with this is we're essentially ingraining the personal responsibility of children's safety onto our children, rather than interrogating the fundamental issues that cause and the issues to safety which we're so constantly telling them about. I feel like there's the issue of social integration and isolation. Young people who are cyclists and also use public transport gain a more holistic view on what society is like, being exposed to people from all walks of life, and I think this is really valuable. We're constantly told during our high school humanities classes that we need to be global citizens, but how is someone who grows up insulated inside a 3-ton box of metal and plastic ever going to understand that there are people from all walks of life? Yes, of course there is school, but existing in a living social system that is cycling and public transport is so fundamental for the upbringing of our young people. And finally, there is the concept of just getting out there and doing something. We, the people, have the ability to influence decision making. It is our responsibility, in my opinion, to use our voices and this privilege to try and make a difference. We can channel our anger and convert this into optimism and activism. And so I urge you to go out there, join your local bike user groups, join the critical mass movement, join Better Streets, and of course, not just adults as well. Encourage children to get involved as well, because they are the future generation. Get that going from a young age and we can really create a different future. I feel like as well, underinvestment plays a key role. So for example, in Victoria, you can go look at the state budget and you'll find that 0.03% is being spent on active transport out of a total of $6.609 billion. This is shameful. How can we expect and tell people to make behavioural changes when the infrastructure is fundamentally hostile and unsafe? This is an instant barrier to many parents who might be considering letting their child walk to school, ride to school, etc. Only once we change and alter the perception of the safety of cycling, particularly amongst parents, can cycling truly flourish as a mode of transportation in Melbourne, particularly for young people. The ability for young people to have mobility independence should be a fundamental human right. They should be provided with a safe route to take no matter where they live, their age, or their socioeconomic situation. If we allow young people the ability and safety to use cycling as their primary mode of mobility, they will grow up more likely to have the passion and perspective to advocate for change down the road. I know personally that this is the case. Being a cyclist of 14 years has been a major motivating factor in my, I guess you could say, change-orientated mindset, as I understand the issues which cyclists face on a daily basis, and I want to make this available to young people of the future. I hope that future generations can look back in 50 years and be proud of the changes that have been made and the progress that has been made in transforming our cities for the better. But for this to happen, we need to drastically alter how we fund, discuss, and view transportation, and of course, open this discussion to the voices of the youth. This is critical, and we must start today. Thank you.